Hello my dear students, welcome back. In this session, I am going to discuss about the zoophily, pollination by animals. So in my last session, I completed the up to hydrophily. So continuation of that, let us now discuss what is a zoophily. Zoophily means it is pollination by animals, and there are different types of animals which can bring about pollination. So each one is given a different name. So now let us see the first one, entomophily. What is entomophily? Pollination by insects is called entomophily. And like insects like bees, moths, butterflies, wasps, ants, beetles, all these they bring about pollination. Of this most common type are the bees and butterflies. Those are the most common pollinators. Now next one is called ornithophily. Ornithophily is pollination by birds. That is called ornithophily. Like sunbirds and hummingbirds. These are the most common type of pollinators. Next, chiropterophily, that is pollination by bats. Later part of the video I am going to tell you what are the adaptations seen in the flowers. Thyrophily. Thyrophily is pollination by squirrels. Ophiophily, pollination by reptiles. Most commonly, it is pollination by snakes. Most commonly, pollination by snakes. Now next, malacophily. Malacophily is pollination by snails. Myrmecophily by ants. So these are all different types of pollinators. We also find some primates like some monkeys, some primates also they bring about pollination process. Because you know monkeys are arboreal in nature. They keep moving from one tree to the other. So in the process they can bring about pollination. Now next let us see the characteristics of entomophilous flowers. Of all these, entomophily is the most common type. So now let us see the characteristics of entomophilous flowers. So first one, the flowers are very large, colorful and showy. They are brightly colored because they have to attract insects. So these are brightly colored and very large and showy. And they produce nectar, pollen and fragrance. They produce nectar, pollen and fragrance. So now let us go to the next character. Okay, now let's next look into the other characters. If small flowers are present, they become conspicuous by grouping. What is the meaning by becoming conspicuous? They form the inflorescence. Like for example, head inflorescence. We know head inflorescence has very small flowers. They are called ray and disc florets. Highly reduced flowers. All these together, they form an inflorescence and make the flower more attractive. So all these adaptations are seen to attract insects. So they become more conspicuous. Sometimes the petals may not be very colorful or showy. So in that case, the other parts can become showy. Other parts can become showy. Like for example, in bougainvillea, it is the bracts. We find colored bracts in bougainvillea. We know bougainvillea is also, this is also called as a paper flower. Bougainvillea is also called paper flower and it has many colored bracts. We find in pink color or white color. So those structures are the bracts which make the flower more attractive. In euphorbia, it is the leaves which become more attractive, colorful. And in Musanda, one of the sepal becomes enlarged and it becomes colored. And that is called as advertising flag. So this sepal helps in attracting insects. Now corona is present in Calotropis. What is this corona? This corona are the outgrowths on petals. Outgrowths on petals. And in the petal of Calotropis, we find this type of structure we find. In the petals of this, we find this type of structure attached to the petals. It is attached to the petals. Each petal, it will get attached. So this is called corona. And one more example here I can give. One more example, that of corona is also found in passiflora. Corona is also found in passiflora. In passiflora, we find on the petals, hair-like structures are present. On the petals we find many such hair-like structures. Colored hair-like structures. These colored hair-like structures, these form the corona. Just like what we have coronavirus, same spelling. So it has corona. This helps in attracting insects. It increases the beauty of the flower. The next adaptation we find are the special markings on petals we find in some flowers. Those markings are called as nectar guides. Like for example in viola. What is the common name of viola? Viola is also called common pansy. Common pansy. Viola. So viola has both chasmogamous and clistogamous flowers. Both are present. So chasmogamous flowers naturally should have such attractions for the insect. Clistogamous don't need any pollinator. The nectar and pollen are called floral rewards. This nectar and pollen which are produced by the plant. These are called as floral rewards which are offered to the insect. So how the floral rewards these nectar and pollen? Like in some flowers, not only this nectar and pollen, the floral rewards are in the form of safe places for laying eggs. They provide a safe place for landing of the insect, and insect completes its life cycle. So it provides a safe place for laying eggs, like for example in case of Amorphophallus. Amorphophallus, the inflorescence is spadix inflorescence and which is 6 feet long, and it provides a safe place for landing of insect and also laying eggs. Another we find the symbiotic type of pollination we find in case of yucca. Yucca shows symbiotic association with a moth called as Tageticula yuccacella or Pronuba yuccacella also. Tageticula yuccacella or Pronuba yuccacella. You know, yucca belong to family Liliaceae. So here the moth and the yucca, they are in association, symbiotic association. The moth completes its life cycle within the inflorescence of yucca. Yucca shows a compound raceme inflorescence or panicle inflorescence. So these are some of the adaptations of the insect pollinated flowers. Most common type of insects already I told you, which are bees and the butterflies. Those are the most common type of insects. Okay. Now let us see any other special features do we find in any other plants. Let's go into the some special. Let's now continue with the remaining other examples. So in Ophrys, which is an orchid, it resembles female moth. The name of the moth is called Kalpa. And male moth mistakes the Ophrys flower for female. So visits the flower and brings about pollination. This mechanism is called as a pseudo-copulation mechanism because it is thinking that it is a female flower. The male moth visits thinking that it is a female insect, female moth. Then other examples in flies mainly are attracted by unpleasant smell. So these plants are pollinated by flies like Rafflesia. It gives a rotten meat smell. And arum human dung smell. Aristolochia decaying tobacco smell. So these are pollinated by the flies. Next is some other mechanisms. When we look into the other mechanism, turnpike mechanism is found in Salvia. Turnpike, or this is also called as a lever mechanism. Turnpike, or it is called as a lever mechanism. So lever mechanism it is called as because this Salvia plant has corolla in such a way, such shape that it provides a place for landing insect. When insect settles on one part of the petals, the other part carrying the stamens will come to the touch and body of the insect. When it comes and touches body of the insect, it will be transferred like a lever, like you know seesaw and all, how lever mechanism. One side if it presses, the other side comes over the insect, which is having the pollen grains. So Salvia, or this is also commonly called as sage plant. This is also commonly called as sage plant. Then fly trap mechanism in Aristolochia. Fly trap mechanism. Remember, in Aristolochia there is the other feature of Aristolochia is it has decaying tobacco smell also. We will go into details of these mechanisms very soon. Then trapdoor mechanism in ficus. In ficus, we know the inflorescence is called hypanthodium inflorescence in ficus. So what is hypanthodium inflorescence? It is a fruit-like inflorescence with an apical opening. And this opening functions like a door. So insect enters into that and completes its life cycle, all the stages of life cycle. In the process, it is going to pollinate the flowers. And then after completing its life cycle, the insect flies away. So it is called as a trapdoor mechanism. Translator mechanism in Calotropis. This is a very important mechanism. So little bit I am going to explain this, what is a translator mechanism. So first of all, what is the translator structure in Calotropis? So in Calotropis we find the pollen grains of both the anther lobes. Pollen grains of both the anther lobes. This is one anther lobe, and this is another anther lobe. So pollen grains present in both the anther lobes, they collect and form a collection or aggregation. This structure, this is called as a pollinium. It is called as a pollinium. Each one is called as a pollinium. And this has a stalk. This stalk is called as a caudicle. This stalk is called as a caudicle. And this has a hexagonal disc at the top. This is a disc. A hexagonal disc at the top. And this disc is sticky in nature. The disc is sticky in nature. When the insect visits the flower, insect settles on this disc, and when it moves away from the flower, it completely pulls everything in this way. This is called as translator. Complete structure is called as a translator. So it is completely pulled by the insect. And when it visits another flower, the thin membrane which is covering the pollinium, that will break, releasing all the pollen grains. So this type of pollination mechanism is called as translator mechanism. So another mechanism I wanted to discuss here is called as, I hope many of you have not studied in your course 11th or 12th. This is very important. It is called as piston mechanism of pollination. Piston mechanism of pollination. So this piston mechanism of pollination also will promote only cross pollination. Not self pollination, but only cross pollination. This is found in the members of Fabaceae. We know in the members of Fabaceae, Papilionaceous corolla is present. In the members of Fabaceae, Papilionaceous corolla is present. And you know Papilionaceous corolla means it has 3 types of petals. 3 types. One is called as a standard petal. The other 2 are called as wing petals. The smallest petals are called as keel petals. So actually this keel petal is very important. This keel petal will enclose the essential organs. Keel petals will enclose essential organs. So what is the function of each petal also has specific functions. So large petal is called as a standard petal. So standard petal helps in, it attracts insects. Standard petal attracts insects. And after standard, this petal are called as wing petals, or they are called as alae. So wing petals provide a platform wing petals will provide a platform for landing of the insect. And now the keel petals. The keel petals are enclosing the essential organs. So when the insect lands on the wing petals, it pushes open the keel petals. So when pushes open the keel petals, so here we can give insect pushes open keel petals, and first the stigma comes out. When it pushes open, first the stigma comes out. When stigma comes out, it will collect the pollen from the other flower. Then the stamens will come. So movement of this stigma and stamens or movement of essential organs is compared to that of piston. So movement of essential organs. Movement of essential organs is compared to a piston. So it is called as a piston mechanism. So in Fabaceae members, piston mechanism is provided or it is facilitated because of this papilionaceous corolla. Okay, so these are the important pollination mechanisms I discussed. So with this I conclude my video. So in my next session I am going to continue with the topic. Mostly I am going to continue with the process of fertilization and artificial fertilization, and also some numericals related to that where I am going to discuss. So I hope you like the video. So please do share and please watch the video from beginning to the end. So thank you very much.